Hello everyone. I'm grateful that you want to learn more about the Rapid Disaster Assessment Plan. I'm making this rudimentary video so that you can share it more easily and so more areas can take the information and put it into a plan of your own. More and more I see the benefit of this plan. Even right now, this would be a great plan to be able to go check on your neighbors who you don't know about and make sure they are doing okay. You don't even have to go into a person's house. You can just ask them a few questions and get a quick assessment of what they may or may not need. Also, it will give you a better idea of who is in your neighborhood and what potential special needs you might need to address. As I said before, this is very rudimentary and has much to be desired, but I wanted to get this out because a few of you have asked for a video so you could show your leadership. And this is the easiest way I know without having to take time to edit. So I hope you will focus on this tool that can be an incredible help to you in your planning and assessment when the time comes. I don't have all the answers, but I do know this is doable. And you can do this, and it will help our communities be that much better able to respond and help when the help is needed. So here we go. This program was introduced to me by Ken Crowdy. He works with the Division of Emergency Management, and he had gone over to Puerto Junta in Florida to help assist during Hurricane Charlie. He gave the presentation to our group and sent me his slides and pictures. So much of this is directly from his presentation. These are just some of the pictures he took. You can see the roof damage done to this home, and notice the Charlie garage sale sign. This is what's left of Elegant Lee's bridal and formal wear. Unfortunately, we have seen pictures a lot like this here in Utah. The winds can be so strong at times and have damaged homes and have had uprooted trees that affect a whole neighborhood. Unfortunately, we have seen pictures a lot like this here in Utah. The winds can be This is what I call air conditioning, right? He went into a church that belonged to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and it was packed with people helping. The rooms were full of supplies, but the thing that intrigued him the most was the people running in and out with little clipboards. Thus, this plan has been implemented before and works. The Rapid Disaster Assessment Plan. This is a tool to help neighborhoods get an idea of where help is needed or where damage is at, and will also help emergency management get a better idea of the bigger picture in residential areas during a disaster. While block captain programs are a great tool too, it had many flaws that made it difficult for it to be maintained. It often used pre-assigned callings and required some pre-training and assignments. Often those assigns would either move or were just unable to follow through. So now a new block captain had to be found. Sometimes the reporting procedures were difficult to maintain, and even if radios were used and could be advantageous, often became complicated because channels can be changed so easily. And initial setup was great, but it had to be maintained and revitalized, and that is where the breakdown happened. It is often just too much to keep up with. As I said before, RDAP is a tool. It can be implemented by spontaneous volunteers. Whomever shows up can do this plan, and it doesn't require certain people to know what to do. It can be managed by the first person at the designated meeting place with no initial training, because the instructions are all part of the tool. It doesn't require electricity or phones or radios, although they can be used, but it is not required for this tool to work. It also utilizes a predetermined meeting place. That way, people will know where they can go to help. While the example from Ken's experience was at a church, it doesn't have to be at a church. It can be at a clubhouse, or schools, or even at homes or other buildings. Churches are just a natural gathering place. Many people happen to go to churches because they often know that they will find help there. When the towers fell on 9/11, many people went to the tiny little church just a couple of blocks away and prayed together and came together to comfort one another. Churches are often a good place because of the geographical nature of churches. They are in the neighborhoods, and often people can get into them quite easily to help neighborhoods. Churches often become a place of information and a way to know where people can help. In my neighborhood, my church building is probably 10 or so blocks away from most of our neighborhood. And my bishop said, let's just start where we are and live where we stand. Let's just keep it in the neighborhood. So that is what we are doing, having the tools to be housed in people's backyards so we don't have to go all the way to the church and then all the way back. I will talk more about my plan in my neighborhood in just a bit. Here it is, the RDAP tool. It really doesn't have to take up much room, although the kit does have some more parts to it. The basics of RDAP are housed right in this basic white binder. It is a 3-ring binder with instructions right in the front on how to set up the tables and what should happen. It describes the basics of what should happen and then goes into detail for each section to know what to do and how to perform the needed actions. There are forms for tracking all the volunteers. This is important for 2 reasons. It gives you an idea of where everyone is and what they are doing, but it also gives proof of the volunteer work done by people in the neighborhood. In a major disaster, after certain parameters are met, FEMA may help with the recovery and restoring of cities and jurisdictions. The volunteer hours can go toward the match that the cities must put in toward getting that help. And even if FEMA doesn't come, those hours documented are still important to the recovery of an area, and it helps in resilience and healing. Also in this tool is a map of the area divided into sections, and then the pages that are needed to do the assessment, and then other forms to help with the process. We will go through all of those in just a bit. This is an example of the notebook with its alpha sections. Here is the initial setup. There needs to be 3 tables set up and then a place where people can sit down if needed. Here's a flowchart of how things should be set up and the flow of volunteers. This can be found in the files that we will talk about in a minute. After the 3 tables are staffed, the next volunteers that come are sent out to do assessments. It is always in pairs of at least 2. The pair makes sure to record when they left, and they leave with the forms and map for their alpha section they were assigned. When they are finished assessing their section, they come back and check in and return and report what they have found. We'll go into more detail in a minute, but I wanted to give you a quick overview of the process. Here's an example of the map with the alpha sections detailed. Here's an example of the summary form. Here's the check-in sheet. Here's the alpha section instructions and rules that every pair will get before they go out. Here's the form for volunteers to know what to look for as they make their neighborhood assessments. And here's an example of the detailed sheets for community leaders to know what next steps need to be taken. I'm going to take a few minutes and show you a very basic rendition of how the setup would be at the meeting place. Then I will show you how the binder is made. Here's the meeting place, whether it be a church or a parking lot or someone's yard or some other building. Here is the basic setup. You decide where you want your meeting place to be. So something major has happened in your neighborhood. You have checked on your family and made sure everyone is all right. You can even check on your neighbors if you'd like, but you know that it would be best to start the assessment process so help can get to more people sooner. So you head to your meeting place and you are the first one there. Hopefully you can get into the building that houses the kit. If not, you may have to wait for keys. Now I should note, if you are leadership of any kind within your neighborhood, you should not take on these roles. You should definitely check in, but you need to work together as a council and decide what the needs and priorities will be for your area. These assessments will help you in those decisions, but you should let others take on these roles because there is many other things you will start to focus on. So, you're the first one to arrive. You need the tub that has the kit in it. You find it and you look at the binder and read the instructions. It basically says you need to set up 3 tables and get some things ready for the next people that come in to help. The instructions are all in the binder and you can look at the flow chart to see how it will flow. There are also quick cards to help you understand what goes where and who does what. You set up the tables and chairs and get everything ready. You see that your role is called the section manager, and you are in charge of making sure that the process runs smoothly and people go to the right place. Then the next person to arrive you will assign to be the shift manager. You will briefly explain what they are to do, but they too will have detailed instructions on their role that you have set up for them to read. The next person to arrive is now the area information officer. And just as before, you explain briefly, but all the instructions are on the sheet you have placed at the table for them to begin their role. The next people to arrive are now the volunteers who want to help. You have to sign them in. Everyone who enters the building should sign in so that everyone is accounted for. Whether they go out as volunteers or not, it is just wise practice to keep track of people and where they are and what they are doing, so there isn't duplication. Those next volunteers go to the next table to get their alpha assignment. They make sure to write when they arrived on the check-in sheet and when they come back. They need to make sure they check back in on that same line they checked out of. The shift manager tells them about the rules and safety and sends them on their way. And each pair is assigned until there is no more alpha sections. But people may be still needed to go take care of other issues that may arrive, or to those homes that there was no response. Volunteers are the heart of this plan. When those pairs come back, they check back in on that same sheet. They are given the summary sheet back and head to the area information officer. This person goes through them in detail about each house and writes down on the detail sheet all that they can. Every single house in that alpha section should be detailed on detail sheets. Then the summary form can be briefly filled out and placed on a wall or chalkboard or whiteboard, where others may see the brief summary of the houses. The area information officer thanks the pair for assisting with the assessment efforts and says they need to take a break, but if they want to assess more after their break, to go back to the section manager and start the process with a different alpha section. Now back to the area information officer. The detail sheets that this person has written up is divided into red, yellow, or green. The red means that the household needs some sort of help, and the detail sheet will tell what kind of help is needed. The yellow mark sheets mean there was no response, and they should probably be assigned again to see if anyone there needs some help. Let the shift officer know. The green ones mean that their household is well, and those sheets go back in the binder and kept as a record. The reds need to be taken to those that are in leadership, so they can start assigning people to go help them and to reach out to emergency management to get help when they can. All of these reports give both neighborhood leaders and emergency management a big picture of where the greatest needs are and where the needs are that the neighborhoods can take care of. This is where response and recovery start to happen. So that's what happens at the meeting place and the RDAP tool being used. But before any of that happens, the tool must be made. So you can see that parts of the tool are mostly done for you. You just need to make it fit to your neighborhood. Let's go through the process of what it takes. First, you need to start with a map of what area you want to cover. Then you will need to divide it into sections of about 10 to 12 houses, but no more than that, usually because remember, this is a rapid assessment. If you do too many houses, it will take longer. You can go less, but approximately 10 is a good number. Then assign a letter to each of those little sections. That is where you will start to get it all organized. It all starts with the map. It is the most crucial part, and we can't do that part for you. You have to do it. But it is doable. For those of you in Tooele County, you can Google Tooele County Geographic Information Systems, or you can use the Tooele County School District boundary maps, and parcels.utah.gov can be helpful. You can also use the Google Maps from Tools, but it usually doesn't show lots. It is better to have a map that shows lots, and even better if you can get the address. So you might have to use a combination of both. That is kind of what I did for mine. Use multiple resources to make my map for my neighborhood. The nice thing about all of this is you don't have to know who lives there. You just have to have an address. It is based on addresses, not on people. That way, if people move, it doesn't matter. The house is still there, and whomever moved into it is now the family that will be cared for because it is by house number. Once you have it all divided into alpha sections, then you need to start filling out the forms with the addresses so the people who are assessing are ready to go out and know exactly what house numbers they are supposed to assess. So the next part is to fill in the summary forms with the addresses, and then fill in the assessment sheets with the addresses. These can be handwritten or typed in, or even merged through a program, and Roland Smith said he would help you with understanding that if you would like. Contact information is at the end. Now that you have those forms, you just need to make copies of the other papers that go with each alpha section and put them together in either a folder or a clipboard. I put mine in a folder, and then if I had a clipboard, it could be used. But since I don't have a lot of room and a lot of money, I opted for putting everything in a folder. It works well. I do have some clipboards, probably just not enough for one for each folder. Here's a picture of all that is in the folders that I made. For mine, I have flagging tape in each folder of each color so that every house can be tagged one color, so that every house has a flag, so it will be easier for those that need help to be noticed easier. It also helps those coming back to reassess those that were marked yellow. They can be ordered online. I get them from a company here in Salt Lake called Tri-Combined Resources, and then go pick it up so I don't have to pay for shipping. Here's the web address for the flagging tape, but there are other companies that have flagging too. Just Google flagging tape. I have also added another sheet. As I said before, this can be tweaked to fit your neighborhood. I've included all the files in a link in the email. In working with others, we have recognized the need for mechanical pencils for this tool, because a regular pencil that breaks will need to be sharpened. Pens won't work because they dry up, and if the kid is outside, they will freeze. So mechanical pencils are wise because you can always add the little leads for extra supplies. Here's the binder that I made up for one of my zones for our neighborhood. It has this pencil case with extra pencils and lead in the badges and extra stickers for the detail sheets. Then it has the RDAP overview, then setup instructions. Tabbed after that is the signs to put on the tables, then the instructions for each of the tables along with the quick cards. Here's the table setup quick card. Volunteer 1, quick card. Volunteer 2, quick card. Volunteer 3, quick card. There is a quick card for each of the tables. This RDAP tool is good to have and is very doable. This also is just a part of what you should be doing for your neighborhood plan. For those that are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, look at the Ward and Stake Emergency Planning Guide. In there are the steps you should take. This tool can fit nicely into your plan. You can get a lot of information about the disasters in our area, and the contacts you may need can be found on our TwillaReady.org website and in our Twilla Ready app. The part you need to do is get to know who may have special needs within your neighborhood. Not just the members, but everyone. As we have all experienced lately, disasters don't pick and choose. They affect everyone, and the effect of it is different for everyone too. So we need to be vigilant and prepared to help when needed. I would also encourage you to go to our Facebook page and Twitter feed and follow us for the latest information that emergency management will post with the latest updates. We also would encourage you to share about Twilla Alerts, our notification system, and please share all of this with your neighbors. You can sign up for it right on our Facebook page or on Twilla Ready. There are great resources out there to help you with getting your plan going. Please utilize this RDAP tool. It can be tweaked to the needs you may have. For mine, we decided to have our meeting place right in our neighborhood instead of going all the way to our church, which is at least 10 blocks away. We also divided it up into 3 zones so we can get assessments out sooner. You make it work for your different situation. I know we have very rural areas here in Tooele County, so make it work for you. Just use the basic principles. We have 3 different zones with tubs in people's backyards. Just make it work how it works for you and your neighborhood. And I would say practice it. Play even a part of it out so you can find the gaps that you may have. Communication will always be your biggest obstacle. The standardized RDAP forms are all thanks to Lane Smith from Layton City and Catherine McMullen from Utah Department of Emergency Management. Because of this tool is easy to make and simple to bring together. You have to do your part, but all the forms are there and the instructions are there. If you have questions about this great tool, please let me know. My email address is rfredrickson@tcem.org. We want to see all of Tooele County to be able to communicate with emergency management, but we can't have everyone try to contact them all at once. So we have some procedures that each area should follow, and stake leadership has a conference call number that is directly to emergency management, so we can get reports on the things that neighborhoods might need, and also to communicate the ways the neighborhoods might be able to help. If you are part of the stake, please contact me so you can get the correct information to contact Tooele County Emergency Management. If you are wanting to have Roland help you with merging information, his email address is rolandksmith@gmail.com. Thank you for learning more about the Rapid Disaster Assessment Plan for your neighborhood. This is a tool, and it can help in different ways, but you also have to know your neighborhood and how best to help in your situation. Tooele County Emergency Management is a resource, and we are here to help the communities of Tooele County learn how they can prepare themselves, their families, their workplaces, and especially their neighborhoods. We know that when people are prepared, recovery happens so much quicker and better. Resilience and preparedness is the key. You as neighborhoods are the key. We cannot be everywhere, but you can be the help till help arrives, which may take some time. But as a community, we will do the best we can. Thank you.